Hey everyone, welcome to First Glance, where I share impressions to help you decide if a game is worth your time. Today we're looking at Indiana Jones and the Grey Circle. All the footage you'll see is spoiler-free from approximately the first 2 hours of the game and played on Xbox Series X. Let's dive in. In the game, you, of course, play as a famous archaeologist Indiana Jones, played by Harrison Ford in the movie franchise. The timeline of the game is 1937, after the first and before the third movie, and the game character looks like a young Ford himself. This is a story-driven game, and they made a serious take on cinematic storytelling. There are tons of cutscenes, great camera work, amazing lighting, most of it look like you're truly watching a movie. There is even an option to turn on letterbox for the whole game. The game plays from the first-person perspective, with occasional switches to a third person when interacting with the environment. I was a bit on the fence about the first-person viewpoint since many adventure games are third-person, but they turned out to be better than I expected. It actually levels up the experience rather than spoiling it. You feel like you truly play as Indy, with all his quirks and attributes, including his legendary whip, of course. The developer of the game, Machine Games, is very good at making the first-person games very interactive and engaging. If you have played any of their Wolfenstein games or even Chronicles of Riddick, made by the same people, you know what I'm saying. After playing the game, I honestly wish there were more cutscenes from the eye perspective rather than regular movie-like when we watched it from a side. Beyond the great cinematography and first-person immersion, the gameplay is just a lot of fun and varies depending on your preferred style. Do you want a corridor adventure story? You got it. You can play through the story as one large attraction and don't be concerned about any side activities. If you like to get more involved, maybe you enjoy history and mysticism, or maybe interested in the lore of the series, you have plenty of things to explore. There are several semi-open world locations and they are quite large. I have been finding myself completely forgetting that it's not really an open world game. The most important thing is that they never feel empty. There are so many things to do and discover. As side exploration, you have side quests called fieldwork, and some of them have really good stories that easily could have been part of the main quest. In addition, there are discoveries, your classic collecting activities, and mysteries, which are mostly puzzles. Speaking about puzzles, which are of course part of the main game too, they are quite enjoyable. Most of them are interesting, not repetitive, not unnecessary, complicated, and just satisfying to solve. For many activities in the game you get adventure points, you can spend them on earning new skills. There is no classic skill tree in the game, so you have to find those new skills, again by exploring the world and picking up books with certain abilities. If you want a straight main story and not planning doing a lot of side things, don't worry. Those skills are mostly quality of life improvements and not a necessity. The variety of choices on how to play the game spreads to other parts too. In terms of difficulty, you not only have separate difficulty modes for action and for puzzles, you can also adjust them further by tweaking different settings. I was playing with everything set to normal, but I enabled the quest indicators, so I don't have to open up the map each time to see where to go. I wish each game had such detailed settings, it would improve a lot of annoyances. Regarding how to deal with the enemies, you also have a choice here. You can sneak in without even touching them, or you can knock down the enemies from behind as more of a classic stealth experience. There are also tons of ways to go through each level, and it's really fun to find different ways to go through an enemy camp. You can also play aggressively and meet enemies face to face. Don't expect the run and gun kind of experience we see in first-person shooters. The game is definitely made with a stealth-first approach in mind. Indiana Jones is just not that kind of adventure. But you still have plenty of killing methods. You can pick up guns and shoot. It will alert everyone on the level, so it's going to be hard, but it's still possible. You can also fist fight everyone, or, which is even better, pick up one of the things laying around and fight with it. From guitars to brooms and gun butts, I was seriously surprised at how many things they come up with that can be used as a weapon. So even without having a regular FPS experience, you still can enjoy fights. Here I have probably my only one downside of the game is enemy AI. It's especially not great for a stealth-first game. On normal difficulty, the enemies are quite dumb, and even killing their peers right in front of them won't alert them. But I guess it's a price to pay for the variety of gameplay catering to everyone. Maybe higher difficulties also would fix it. As a cinematic adventure experience should, this game has a very minimalistic UI. Also, many UI elements have real-world kinda animations like opening a map or nodes, so it doesn't throw you off the realism. All the interactions with the environment, like turning the key in the keyhole, played as a QuickTime events. Think Heavy Rain or Telltale game style, but simplified. They are also very intuitive, so after a few you don't need to see a tooltip to know which side to shift the gamepad stick to. The graphics in the game are also fantastic. There are tons of different environments in the game and they feel pretty real. Even the snowy environment, which is often less believable in games, they did a pretty good job there. You can see that each level was also crafted manually and with incredible attention to detail. Technically, the game is in a good shape too, especially considering how often games come out undercooked those days. I played on Xbox and I didn't notice any serious bugs or glitches. Sure, there are a few texture holes you can see through and sometimes characters look kinda awkward and have wrong face impressions, but that's it. It's honestly not a big deal and doesn't spoil the overall experience. There are no settings to change in terms of resolution or frame rates, but I was quite happy with the defaults they choose for Xbox. The game is very smooth and has a great picture quality. I'm sure the PC version will be even more beautiful. I also want to admire the work of Troy Baker, who plays Indiana Jones and makes the perfect Harrison Ford impression here. Even though you know it's not a Ford's voice you hear, after some time his voiceover blends so well that you really feel like it's just good old Indiana Jones.
Fascist shouldn't be trusted with money.
In general, I like most of the NPCs in the game. They're unique enough, have great charisma and quality voiceovers. No one feels completely unmemorable. Music and sound work is impressive too. The sound is very dynamic. I was playing in regular headphones and I could easily distinguish the enemy sounds, like their steps and the direction of those steps. There are plenty of moments in the game where it's quite important. Music is also very nice and in pair with classic movies and the era. And of course we have many variations of famous do-do-do-do. Without telling anything particular about the story, I'm just gonna say that I enjoyed it. I'm not a huge fan of Tomb Raider, Code Da Vinci kinda storylines. I like Indiana Jones movies, but I cannot say I'm a huge fan. But even I was interested in what happens next. The story, and it can be said about the game as a whole, doesn't overstay its welcome. There is no dragging plot or repetitions. It knows exactly how to tell the old school action adventure story with fun moments like cartoonishly evil Nazis. It's perfect and never feels boring or stale. The game always comes up with something new for you to enjoy. Vibe and the atmosphere of the game fit great with the time too. You have your perfect representation of the time leading to World War II shown from perspective of different cultures. They handcrafted and backed so many small details in the game, so if you like this era you will be happy. It's of course adjusted to the action adventure / comedy kinda genre, so it's not overly serious. So what's the conclusion? Overall, it's a plain and simply good old adventure game which we don't have as much nowadays. I spent 15 hours completing it, mixing side questing with only focusing on the main story, and I had a blast. Now I even want to go back to the past levels to finish all the side quests I missed, which not happens often with me. If you want to enjoy a good story-driven game and a great cinematic experience, if you like this genre, this era, or the Indiana Jones franchise, I would definitely recommend you to play the game right away. You won't be disappointed. You can also play it on Xbox Game Pass Ultimate for free if you are a subscriber. And very important, I think we finally have a great Xbox exclusive that we have been waiting for so long. That was first game that made me think Xbox purchase was totally worth it. Thank you so much for staying until the end. Let me know if you're planning to pick up the game and what your history with the franchise is. I'm really curious. Keep playing, take care, and I'll see you soon.